Jesus, to break every chain, break every chain, break every chain.
Hello, my name is Apostle Byron Cooper. I'd like to talk to you about a topic that is very important. As I watched certain documentaries on what was happening to great men of color, I want you to know that there is a spirit in America that is designed to destroy the black male. And I want you to hear me very closely. This is not a topic that I am speaking on concerning because we are a people of color and we have been treated unjustly and unfairly in times past and even to this present day. But I want to make us aware, particularly every black male that has become successful in life or on their way to success. I want you to understand one thing, that there is a spirit that has been released in America to destroy every successful black male that will ever achieve success. Well, what are you speaking about, Apostle Cooper? What I am saying to you, I want you to look at a pattern that has been going on in our country. I want you to see, based on the men that have rose to great sports, whether they were in sports, whether they were in political power, whatever position that they were in, there's a spirit in America that has been released to destroy black men when they come to their highest potential in life. Now, I want to give you a few examples. Back in the early 1800s, we had men that was used mightily to help bring justice to us. We started off with Abraham Lincoln. When he made a decision to free blacks from slavery, one of the first things that the country did, a spirit came, and when they could not stop this man from helping free blacks from slavery, one of the first things took place, he was assassinated. Once you moved into the early parts of times, in the early 50s and the 60s, we had men that then rose up like Medgar Evers that was bringing a truth on the scene in America to show the injustice that were being treated to us as a people. When they could not discredit him, they assassinated him. Then we moved and God raised up a man named Martin Luther King that touched this nation and caused this nation to take a look at its behavior as well as its character. And though we were citizens of America, yet we were treated as low as a human being can be treated, even in the early parts of our 60s. But God rose up a prophet named Martin Luther King that many of us are aware of today, that spoke truth and not only freed us from the laws of the land, but gave us hope that we can achieve greatness no matter what color we were, no matter what potential or how we grew up or what neighborhood we grew up in. Here we are now 50 years later, and we see men that rose to great power. We see men that rise up that God was using, even in times that we didn't even understand. Let's use for some examples men like Michael Jackson that rose to the great charts in the music industry. Assassination of his character came out. Whether Michael Jackson done what he did or not, most of us don't know because this was based on hearsay. But America came after the man's character, not only once, but America came after the man's character twice to destroy his credibility as well as his legacy. One of the greatest entertainers that have ever lived. We look at men like Michael Jordan, that was one of the greatest athletes in sports that came along in basketball history. They came after his character and his credibility. We look at men such as Bill Cosby today, that was an icon to bring on TV. One of the first family positive roles of African American people that could be presented in history and in this time, that we could have families that were doctors and lawyers, educated people, and was raising up families not just in the ghetto, but was raising up families in secure neighborhoods and very wealthy neighborhoods and communities. And now we see, all these years later, that Bill Cosby, a great general in the entertainment industry, America came after his character. Whether Bill Cosby did all of the things that they say that he have done, The question is, why do we come after this man 25 to 30 years later with women making accusations concerning his behavior? Well, whether some of the accusations are true or not, here's the key, what I want you to understand. There is a pattern that is taking place in this country to destroy black men in great influence and great power. We see the great Tiger Woods that did something in golf that has never been done before by a black man. Well, he had relationships with women. That has been going on in the entertainment industry, in the sport industries for generations. Why is it that when he did it, it became such a scandal? It became such a negative reproach that it destroyed his career. He has never regrouped or never been able to regain the greatness that he started out in. Why? Because there is a spirit that is released in this country. And the spirit that is released in this country is the spirit of racism. Not just racism that they hate an individual because of the color of their skin. There is an enemy behind the spirit of racism that white America have opened up in this country. Their ancestors opened up to come into the spirit realm, to come after men of color that are achieving greatness. It is the spirit of darkness that we do not see that is using men of white Caucasian races to take down men of color in high and powerful positions. And I want us to begin to pay attention to what is going on. I will no longer sit back and watch this demonic power at work against us as a people of color, destroying men of greatness. And I want you to know that the Bible tells us this, that in Ephesians chapter 6 in verse 12 says that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and rulers of darkness of this world and spiritual wickedness in high places. We finally got all these years later, 50 years later, that we have a first black president, Obama. There is no individual no president has been in office that has been treated with such disrespect the way Obama has been treated. Yes, do I agree with everything he says? Absolutely not. But the respect of the office is to be respected. And he has been disrespected more than any other president have ever came on in life. Why? Because the spirit in America is designed to destroy black men. If they cannot destroy his character, they will take his life. If they can't take his life, they will find a way to destroy his character. What are you saying, Apostle Cooper? What I am saying is we have to understand that there is a force behind white Caucasian men that are in power, that is under the influence of the demonic manifestation of the demon powers that are ruling in this region and in this territory, that is influencing them to destroy the character and the credibility of men of color that rise into power. And I like to say to every black male that is hearing me under the sound of my voice, that you must understand that we are now have to take on the entire armor of God. What do you mean by that? What I mean is that we cannot give any place to these spirits in order for them to be able to come in to invade our lifestyle or our character or our legacy. We must begin to be a people that walk in great truth, great integrity, and great authority along with the positions of power for which they have been given to us. It does not matter whether or not you are wealthy today. We have the rap industry that is going on today. They do not mind you having the bling bling, the nice cars, the jewelries, or the young black men that have built wealth off of the legacy of our founding fathers that have gave their lives for us to have the platforms to go and do the things that we are doing. And we, the generation that is following us now, is taking the rap industry, young black men, taking our young black women and prostituting them on national TV and degrading them. Why? Because they do not understand that there's a spirit that is released in America to cause them to degrade not only who they are, but to degrade the legacy of what we stand for as a people of color. And I am blowing a trumpet to you and declaring that there is a time of reckoning. Every pastor that is pastoring whatever church you are pastoring, every individual that's in any media capacity or any position of greatness, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a politician, whatever your role is today, I need you to understand that we must be awakened and open our eyes to see. God used Martin Luther King to set us free, to become where we are free from the laws of this land, to where we can go places that we desire to go. We can go to schools that we desire to go into. All of these things concerning the law of the land has been changed. But here's what has never really been changed. And here's what we have never attacked in prayer and in coming together on one accord is the realm of the spirit where the real battle takes place. And because we have not attacked this realm of the spirit, because we have not come together and understood that we are not dealing with just a natural means, we are not just dealing with a white male that is in power to destroy us. There is a force behind him that is greater than what you can imagine. There is a force behind him greater than what you can even begin to think or understand. That force gives him the ability to take you and I that is rising to power, to greatness, and to destroy our legacy. Men like Bill Cosby will never again be remembered for the great icon of TV. Men like Michael Jackson that rose to great musician positions of greatness will never be remembered because there's a mark on their legacy now. There's a mark, even though they are some of the greatest men that have risen to power and influence in the entertainment world. They will now die and have died with legacies, with a temperance of credibility on their name. Why? Because there is a spirit in this country. We look at the prison system where over 70% of the prison system that is going on is locked up as black males. Do you think that these things are coincidence? Do you think that these things just happen? No, there is a spirit in this country that is designed to destroy the black male, just as there was a spirit in the days of Pharaoh that was destroying the Jewish people, just as there was a spirit in the 30s that rose up men like Hitler that was under demonic influence to try to wipe out an entire nation of Jewish people that were chosen of God, but yet was defeated. That same spirit now is after the black male beyond what you can comprehend. And I am blowing the trumpet and saying enough is enough. We are going to have to understand that we are not dealing with flesh and blood, but if we are going to understand that we have built a legacy based on the foundations of our founding fathers that prayed and obeyed God, we must turn back to the very foundation that made us great, that made us become great men and women in this country. We have to turn back to the foundation that built us who we are and not be used or bought off because men offer us great television programs, men offer us great wealth, and we have to turn back to true integrity, true biblical standards, that we may be able to face the force that is coming against us to destroy us as a people. We are a fatherless generation. Our black males are set apart from our children more than any other race in this country. Why? Do you think all of these things are coincidental? No, they're not. There is a demonic force that has been sent and released and that is increasing more and more. The police brutality that is stirred up like we have never seen in the past year. Of young black men's lives are being taken, and the court system is not able to even punish these men because they are able to hide behind the law of the land. Why is this going on? There is an evil force that is at work, that is even working in our justice system, that white men can kill innocent black boys and nothing be done about it. I want you to understand that we must wake up and understand that we are not dealing with a natural force, even though the white male is the one perpetrating these evil assignments against us as a people. But there is a force that is using him. And I want us to pay attention that there is a force. If you do not believe this, the same force that used the enemy opposition against Pharaoh, that he used against the Jewish people, If you do not believe that there's a spiritual force behind it, God himself had to step in and break the strength of Egypt in order to set the people free. The same God that set the children of Israel free from the hand of Pharaoh and broke that nation and brought it into absolute desolation and set his people free is the same God that will set you and I free as black men in this country today. And if we don't understand and don't pay attention that there is a force that's beyond what you see and a force beyond the color of one's skin that is using white Caucasian males that have birthed this spirit of hatred in this nation of America through their founding fathers, that is not willing to back up and is not going to stop trying to degrade us as a people or destroy us or take our lives or steal our legacy until we understand that there is something being used greater than him behind the manifestation of his activity, his behavior, as well as his political power, or his wealth, or his strength. Whatever position that he is flowing in, there is a force behind him that is after us. Why is the force is so powerfully after African American males today that are rising to power? God spoke something to me, and I want you to hear me very clearly. God said to me that I have given the black male the ability in America to see in the most turbulent times for which one face, which means that we have the ability to see and walk through some of the most difficult times and come out prosperous and ahead. That Satan fears. And because of that ability that has been given unto us by God, the enemy of the realm of darkness hate what is being seen and our ability to achieve these things. Well, you say, well, I don't know about that. Well, let me tell you something. Every time an oppressed generation of colored people, which us as black people have been devastated or have been able to rise to great power, God will always raise up a man. And he will raise up a man that understood that these are the times for which we now must rise and take our rightful place. And so God will always raise up a man. So I want to go back to men like Martin Luther King, that he understood the season and the time for which he was in. And he understood that the battle that we were fighting, we could not win the battle of being set free from oppression and the laws of the land by doing it in a physical manifestation of using weapons and anger and violence. But he got a revelation from God to understand that the only thing can turn hate, because racism is a spirit of hate. The only thing can turn hate, hear me, the only thing can turn hate is the true love of God. And he stood on a principle that God said, no greater love in John chapter 15 than one have is this. It's to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, soul, mind, and strength, and thy neighbor as thyself. These are the two greatest commandments. What are you saying? I'm saying we as the church, and we as men of God, particularly as black men in the body of Christ, is going to have to understand that we're going to have to cry out to God for this nation. We're going to have to cry out for God for the men that are rising in great positions of authority and power, that are on the forefront, that is bringing great positive images to us as a people, but yet are being wiped out, and legacies are being destroyed. Why? Because there's a force in this nation that does not want our generation to see positive role models, particularly in black male leadership. We are the most less men that have great relationships with our wives, great relationships with our children. Why? Because there's a force that is after the black male to subdue him and make him turn back to a position of slave mentality, make him turn back to a position of poverty, and make him hopelessness as slave owners did in the early 1800s. And I am telling you that in my spirit, God is saying that I have come to bring a true deliverance to the black male, not just concerning the law of the land or the law for which America has created, but I've come to set him free in the mind of his spirit and in the mind of the realm of the spirit for which the real war lies and the real battles takes place. And I'm here to tell you it is not enough for us as pastors to pastor 20 or 30,000 people and preach a good message. If the people of color do not understand that until we get set free completely, to understand that there's a supernatural realm and a force that is against us to destroy our legacy, to destroy our children, we will never become the people in this country that God has ordained. I believe with all of my heart that the Lord has chosen us to help bring America into a moral, conscious identity, to understand that America, the Caucasian race, cannot just be the superior race, but this nation belongs to every race and every nationality that has the ability and the right to prosper. But most of all, I have to say this about us as a people, that we have been targeted as men, and we have been targeted beyond our comprehension. And until we turn back to the very thing that made this nation great through our founding fathers that gave their lives, that we can ride on the shoulders of their sacrifice to become what we need to become, we must turn back to the foundations of truth for which they build. If we do not, we will never achieve the greatness for which God has ordained for us. America cannot come into its true prosperity unless we as African American people and black males come into their rightful place in society. We will never see the America that God has ordained. And that is a fact. Why? Because we are a people that cannot be defeated. We are people that have been treated in the most moral, ungodly ways than you can imagine. But we are still here. Why? Because God has a special hand up on our lives. God has a special purpose for us. And that purpose is for us to lead America into a true moral understanding that all people are equal and all people have a right to prosper. But most of all, the day of slavery for the African American man is truly over. And until we take our place in the place of the spirit, we will never see the true freedom in the natural. This is Apostle Byron Cooper. I hope this message has been a blessing to you. But remember that it is God and God Almighty who is going to give us the true liberty and freedom to overcome this spirit in America that is out to destroy the black male. God bless you. I hope this has been a blessing to you. Stay tuned. There will be further messages that I will be releasing to you in the near future. God bless you.